Yes! Show me your moves!
And welcome back to my geekdom, guys. King Shadow Omega, bringing you another Have You Seen That Anime? I started this like a long time ago, and I just didn't pick it up. I was going to go through a lot of it, but between school, work, life, I just haven't had the chance. But I watched a really good anime the other day, and when I say really good, not everybody, pardon me, not everybody's going to think it's amazing or anything, but I really liked it. It's called Charlotte, and I watched it on Crunchyroll, so that's where I saw it. It's 13 episodes. It has a pretty cool character. Basically, he's got this power where he can take over someone's body for like 5 seconds, but his body kind of slumps down or whatever. So at first, the show just kind of has this feel like where everyone who has special powers it's like an incomplete power. So they all have powers, but none of their powers are like great because they all have like a fuck up. Like their powers has like a flaw that it's like if you were to say, "Oh man, I wish I could do this," then you'd be like, "Oh, the flaw." So for instance, his power is like, "Oh, he can take over someone's body." The flaw is it's only for 5 fucking seconds, and he's like, he can't do anything in that body. Like the girl, her power is she can be invisible. The flaw, it's only to one person that she'll be invisible. So it's not like you could be invisible to a whole room. It's just one person who would be invisible. It's just stuff like that throughout the whole show. And at first, he's kind of like abusing his power, kind of being a dick. And as the show progresses, they start trying to... The whole point of the show is that these powers are only during your adolescence, and once you become an adult, you won't have them. So basically, they try and stop people who have taken powers. Or not necessarily taken powers, I'm sorry. Who have powers and are abusing them, is what I mean. So that's what the whole purpose of the show is. And it starts off kind of just like, oh, school time. It's your basic school anime with like a little bit of powers thrown in, and it's fun and blah blah blah. Then it gets a little bit more serious, and then it gets a bit deeper. I can't really explain anything without spoiling stuff, so there will be a spoiler section coming up in like, I don't know, 15 seconds. But I just wanted to say I think it's a pretty good anime. Actually, has one of the best final episodes I've ever seen in an anime. Not to say it's like revolutionary or legendary, just one of my personal favorite animes that have a final episode. The final episode is one of my favorites. Alright, that being said, we're going into the spoiler section. So, yeah. Okay, so, spoiler section. Look, guys. Basically, this is what makes this anime so good. So I watched like the first, I think, 6 episodes, and like I said, it was just like a basic school anime. You know, like they had kind of powers, they were finding people who had powers, yada yada, etc. Then episode 6 or 7, I think it's episode 7, comes along, and whoa. I was like, first of all, I remember literally going like, when the fuck did this just happen? Like episode 6 or 7 ends. No, I think it's like episode 6 ends, and you're like, oh shit, what happened? And you go in like, oh, episode 7, his sister's dead. I'm like, whoa, what? You're like, that fucking happened just now? And I was like, okay, whatever. Like, he's going through one of... Because you know how, like, when something is abruptly different than what you've been seeing, it's like, oh, it's a dream. But then, like, the dream goes on for a while, and you're like, wait, this isn't a fucking dream. This shit happened. So, his sister dies, and you're like, what the fuck? And then, like, he stops going to school. He's like eating like ramen noodles, like on his couch watching television, completely shut off from the rest of the world. He runs out of that shit. People who try and help him, he like just tells them to leave. He doesn't need help. Not in a mean way. He's like, yeah, I don't need your help. Doesn't answer the doors. Tells people they don't need them. Oh, I'll do anything to help you. Okay, then go get me more ramen. I'm out. Like, that's the kind of shit he does. Doesn't help anyone. Then he like leaves and runs in, like, takes a bunch of money out, leaves his home, starts wandering around neighborhoods, falling asleep in, like, video game places, starts going into, like, this crazy psychotic, like, loving to kill shit because of, like, video games that he's playing. And then, like, he gets into these guys, like, corner him in an alley and try and, like, hurt him, and he uses his power to take over and basically become a god. He basically beats the living shit out of all these people and just starts thugging out on everybody in the streets, purposely getting into fights. and like saying he's invincible and shit like that. And then finally it gets to the point where this man's about to go and do crack, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Where did this shit turn so drastically? And then like the girl stops him, the girl that was like the student council president that he's kind of been like falling for, stops him because she felt partly responsible, and she been watching him the whole time. She was invisible to him this whole time because remember, her power is only one person's invisible. So she's been around him watching everything he's done for like weeks. Or I guess they said it was like 2 weeks that he was doing this shit. And like finally he kind of pulls himself back, and you're like, man, this shit got dark. And then the next couple episodes are all happy again, and you're like, what the fuck is going on? Then there's like this, like all the happy episodes go, and all of a sudden we're back to, whoa, what the fuck just happened? He goes into like this dream where he learns of like a past event where it's him and his sister and his brother, who you didn't know he had a brother, even though the sister had thought at one point there was a third person, but she's like, no, I must be wrong, that's stupid. And the brother has this like, you're like, he's trying to get to his brother. Well, you find out his power isn't just that he can take over people for 5 seconds. Yeah, that's if he uses it on a normal person. If he uses it on someone with a power, he literally can take their power. What? That's fucking broken! This dude takes powers. That's what his ability is. So he goes to, like, that's, and you find out, like, you're thinking, okay, why doesn't he know this? Well, the reason he doesn't fucking know this is because his brother, power, when he gets to his brother, because they're, like, locked up in a facility. That's why the reason they've been trying to take powers away, or stop people from using their powers, because if the people get found out and use their power, then the government comes in and, like, takes them into, like, these facilities. So that's why they've been doing it. Well, you find out he was in a facility. I mean, you're like, wait, that makes no sense. And his sister's alive. None of this makes sense. He knows about his powers. Well, he gets to his brother and takes off his brother's like blindfold because his brother's been locked up because his brother's got a really powerful power. Yeah, a really powerful power. The dude can fucking go back in time. So his brother did shit like that. His brother, apparently his power was that he could go back in time over and over again. Well, his brother does that and restarts the time era, and one of the people can take out one specific memory. Yeah, one memory, but they have to like hunt through it, and they can take out one memory. So that's what they do on him and his sister. That's why they don't know about their brother. The brother, who's got this like ability to go through time and shit, he loses eyesight every time he does it. He's been reliving 3-4 years of his life over and over and over and over again, trying to make like a perfect future. Well, the main character then finds his brother in the present, takes his brother's power, and because his brother has it, he can use it. He goes back in time, saves his sister, takes her power. The reason her power ended up getting herself killed. It's like some earthquake power that she can't control based off her emotions. That's how she ends up dying. So he takes her power, and basically, then shit gets dark. A lot of people die. The brother kind of gives up on life. Episode 12 comes around, and most animes are 12 episodes, right? So if it's 12 episodes, you're like, oh, okay, this is the end. And in the final episode, he's sitting there with the girl that he likes, the high school, the student council president, and he confesses his love to her, and then he asks her what to do because she's really smart, and she's like, well, you could just take powers from all the people in the world, but that would be reckless. There'd be no way you could do it. And he's like, I promise to do that. And he confesses his love to her. She is willing to accept it. And then the final episode starts, episode 13, which I didn't even realize existed. I was like, oh, there's a 13th episode. Okay, so I start watching it. And I'm thinking, okay, it's going to go into a second season. No, there is no second season. The 13th episode is about him going around the world, the whole fucking world, taking everyone's power. Like a boss. And at first, it starts off really cool. He's like, trying to like, she makes him these like, flashcards that have like different languages and shit on it, and he's like, oh, trying to like figure out how to speak to people. He goes to different parts of the world, then he like takes some money and finds certain people with powers, and he's like, okay, their power is this. Oh, by the way, he takes the student council president's power as well as like a sign of that he's gonna start. He takes her power, and then like he goes into all these other people, right? And he takes this one dude's power who has telepathy. He's like, oh, I can read minds, that's awesome. And the guy's like, he's like, yeah, I can take your power. Now where's blah, blah, blah. Then he finds this one dude who has like a power that if he looks at a map, he sees these red dots on it. That's anybody who has a power. Okay, that's fucking awesome. Now he can find them everywhere. So he literally can use a map and find people on it. Then he gets this one power that lets him, like, all languages become, he can understand. So, like, he's watching the TV when he activates it, right? And he sees the TV go from, like, speaking in, like, French or something to speaking Japanese. And he's like, oh, that's a convenient power. Then he gets a power that allows him to predict what power he's going to get. I guess it's some sort of foresight. So, like, when he gets an ice power, he sees like a flash of ice, then he touches an apple and it turns to ice, and he's like, oh, so I can see what the powers do now when I get them. Then he gets a fucking power that fucking makes him, like, basically, he just gets power after power after power. I'm realizing I'm just, like, going on and on, because that's what it is. He just gets more and more and more powerful. Yeah, well then, apparently it takes a toll on his mind, because he starts forgetting who his friends are, that he has a brother. He doesn't remember the student council president, and the only reason he keeps doing it, because it's a pretty, like, relentless. You see him start going insane. Then he just starts killing people, but he doesn't know why he's doing it. No, he doesn't kill people. He gets close to doing it, and then he's like, no, I can't do that. Why can't I do that? I'm a god. I can do whatever I want. Because he is a god. He can basically do anything at this point because of all the powers he's gotten. And he doesn't remember what, and then he gets to this, then he sees the flashcards, and he's like, I have to go back to her. Who's her? He doesn't know who she is. So he starts going crazy. He gets another power that lets him, progress a disease, and you're thinking, why the fuck would anyone want to do that? Because apparently progressing the disease allows him to look into it allows him to, all the people who don't actually have, because technically what they have, the abilities, are diseases. They just last in the adolescent period. They come from like a comet or something that's sprinkled on the world. But not everybody has it. Some people just have it in dormant, like his sister, who when it triggered, made her that. So he like uses it to bring the disease out further. And then he takes the power with his own power after that. So he can start, because they show up as orange dots, the people who are like carriers. So he goes through the whole fucking world, and at the final point, he gets to the last person, takes her power, and at this point, he doesn't even care. He's deadened to anything that happens to him. Like, this dude is like hitting him with a crossbow over and over. He can't even tell. Then, like, Deus Ex Machina kind of shit happens, and his brother shows up, who's been trying to track him. Ew, that was nasty. Maybe I'll edit that out. Maybe not. Anyway, point is, his brother finds him after he's found all the people. He gets into like the hospital. He has no idea who anyone is. He like wakes up next to the high school president, school president, whatever, student council president, who is now like, we can be lovers or whatever, and he's like, who are you? And I was like, damn, that's fucked up. But he's all willing to like move forward because he knows if she made him, because he kept, the only thing that he remembered was these flashcards, and he needs to continue the mission. That was the only thing he remembered. And he's like, wants to make new memories with her. And that's how it ends. And I remember thinking, damn, that was a good fucking episode. Like, I never expected that shit. Really fucking good. Definitely different. That final episode, one of the best I've ever seen in a final episode. But I've been rambling for a while, and God, if you didn't want spoilers, I hope you didn't fucking watch this section. Either way, guys, I hope you really liked this video. If you did, please give it a like, comment, subscribe, and if you didn't, well, I don't know why, because the anime is awesome. You should just like it. Okay, all things aside, guys, King Shadow Omega, signing off.